Maybe? Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another scene for Sept of the Howling Winds, Werewolf San Diego. Tonight we find ourselves on the Sept with our newest Sept member, a Shadow Lord who calls herself Sings in Shadow. And what is she up to this evening?
She is following up on the uh, request of the Sept Alpha to go see Writes the Rules and describe her situation regarding her former Sept, um, which she left in not a great state.
All right. Um, and you were given his contact information, yes?
Yep. So she's going to take and find a place where there's cell phone service.
I was on the Tellurian side. There's cell phone service anywhere on Sept.
Okay. Um, that's sometimes that's not the case
Yeah,
with Sept, I know. So
the Sept actually, thanks to our resident glasswalker, has its own private cell tower, uh, so that you can get service anywhere on Sept.
that's pretty handy.
Yes.
She's going to take and call Writes the Rules.
Okay. He'll look at his phone and see that there is a strange number, but he's been already been told to expect a phone call from somebody. So he'll answer it on like the second ring. Hello.
Oh, hello. I was told to call you.
And who might you be?
Uh, called Natalia Dalka. I go by another name, of course.
Yes. 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 I was told to expect your call. Um, Go ahead and come on over to my cabin and he'll give you directions on where to go. It's really not that hard to find. Um, and then after he gives you the instructions, he'll hang up after a polite goodbye.
Okay. She'll make her way with some haste to his cabin. Uh, when she gets there, if he's not waiting outside, she'll knock.
He'll open it immediately, like almost as if he was standing there waiting for you. Um, and he's dressed much like he is in the picture. No cigar in his hand, though. Um, he opens the door and motions for you to come on in.
She will nod and enter.
He'll shut the door behind you. It's set up kind of like a studio apartment. It's one big room with a kitchenette, and there's a hallway that leads down to like a bathroom and a closet, and then the rest of it's just one big room that it has like one spot sectioned off for a sleeping area, and then uh, there's a couch with a TV, and there's a couple of long desks, computer desks type, like the ones you'd find in big offices, um, with various electronics scattered. The place itself is fairly clean, with the exception of the cluttered desktops. And he'll before he has you sit down, he'll introduce himself. Um, I am Writes the Rules. I'm Athro of the nation, Glasswalker, Philodox, and Truthcatcher of the Sept.
She'll nod. Known as Cleath, Hamid Galliard of the Word.
Shadow Lord, huh?
She makes a kind of sheepish expression on her face, and she'll say, yes.
Yes, I heard that there was a Shadow Lord that arrived on Sept recently.
News travels fast around here.
He gives a slight smile. Indeed. Good job helping with those black spiral dancers.
I did a little bit.
Well, being pulled straight into something like that, not every Garu would have jumped at that. A lot would, but not all.
My tribal totem teaches us to be strong, and it's my belief that we are all Guru, and us can fight, with a few exceptions. And I don't see why I should refuse such an important mission.
Well, I'm glad for that, but I had a feeling you'd be coming anyway. Symphony of Memes told me that she met you a while ago.
Oh, yeah. She's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's not too bad. She has a liking for that dog of hers.
Yeah. Oops, I forgot to give him something.
Oh,
Well, no one told me that I can't buy him Mountain Dew.
he cracks a bit more of a smile. Yeah, she really hates it when he has Mountain Dew.
She starts snickering just a little bit.
I think it's
Yeah,
because on his own he has a ton of energy and the Mountain Dew just makes it worse. But
that makes sense.
she keeps an eye on him, keeps him in check. He's actually not a metis or anything. He's lupus. Poor thing's been, well, he was created instead of born.
Whoa. I didn't realize that was a possibility.
Me neither until we found him. But for all intents and
Wonders never cease.
purposes, he is Garu. He just looks like a dog. And I think his excess energy might be a side effect from whatever stuff they were doing. I'm not sure what kind of base they used to create him from, but he joined Bonars when we determined that he wasn't of the worm. And he hasn't left her side. She kind of adopted him. She gave him his name, Bamboozles the Worm.
It's a pretty good name.
But I
It
don't
was,
think you came here to chit chat with me about Bamboozles the Worm.
I don't mind learning more about the people that I'm going to work with. No, that's not why I came here.
He'll motion for you to sit down on anywhere you like. Um, he'll take a seat in a recliner.
Does he have like a regular chair?
Mm-hmm. There's
Okay.
there's an office chair and there's a couple of kitchen table chairs.
Okay. She'll uh, take and pull one of the kitchen table chairs up and turn it around and sit backwards on it.
Um, he raises an eyebrow, but he doesn't say anything. He looks at you
She just
expectantly.
smiles. So, my story. Do you want the abbreviated version that I told the alpha, or would you like a more in-depth version?
Why don't you tell me what you told Wisdom of the Earth, and I'll ask questions if I have them.
Okay, I'll do my best to tell you the same thing. So it starts with my first change, and I panicked. I took and dumped his body in an abandoned mine. Not long after, former sept contacted me, told me that they were going to train me. And in time, I had my rite of passage. And then for that, they had me dispose of 2 more bodies in the same mine. And then they attempted to blackmail me. And she looks pretty frustrated at that. And so I left and I came here.
Why would they attempt to blackmail you?
Well, they wanted money. And I don't know if you know this about my tribe, but many of us who live in the old country are quite poor.
He'll nod.
Yeah.
Ooh,
They
what
might have
was
had
your up?
other reasons.
What
Sorry.
was your what was your upbringing like
Um,
from your first change to your rite of passage?
I had teachings under the Dan father, Grandpa Sergey, and he was fairly old. Um, I don't wish to speak ill of elders, so I'll just say that it's quite probable that he was mental and physical health. And mostly he taught me about the spirits because he tended to repeat stories of his quests in the Umbra. That was a large part of it. Dissent and misbehavior was met with violence, not by him so much as other members of the sept. And I don't know. What else would you want to know about that?
He thinks for a moment and kind of strokes his goatee. So all you were taught was basically the ramblings of an old theurge.
For the most part. I mean, I did manage to learn things about the nation and the tribes.
Well, that's good. But I would gather not a whole lot.
Not really. I know more about the spirits than anything.
Well, that might be useful to some of our young theurges. You might be able to help them in that way, but remember that spirits are their domain.
She nods.
Now, as for your former sept, from what I know of your tribe, which is quite a lot, the way you were raised wasn't too out of the ordinary. Keeping around someone incompetent is almost a litany breach, but not my sept.
Well, I do think he had dirt on pretty much everyone in the sept. That's the sense I got. He may not
So
have
it
been the sharpest,
so it
but
seems that
when
sept's brand of deceit was blackmail.
yeah,
A lot
that's
of shadow
accurate.
lords are known to be quite cunning and manipulative and deceitful.
She looks kind of I don't know how to describe it, but she definitely looks hesitant and kind of displeased, not at what he said, but at the thought of her tribe being so deceitful.
But there are individuals that choose not to subscribe to that life. It's kind of like how a lot of silent striders are wanderers, but not all of them. Every tribe has their stereotype, if you will. Like, not all glasswalkers are hackers. Not all children of Gaia are hippies, though a lot of them are. And he cracks a little bit of a smile when he says that. But everyone has a stereotype. Your tribe happens to be one of deceit. And it goes back a long time with the Silver Fangs. The struggle for power over the nation between the two tribes goes a long way. But blackmail, especially a cub that doesn't know any better, is not okay. If they ever try to come here and, I don't know, get revenge, he kind of scoffs at that. Just know that you're safe here. And don't be surprised, though, if some of the more conservative people in the sept, because we do have them, are a little leery of you when they hear your Shadow Lord.
That's understandable. I'm less afraid of revenge and more afraid that they'll try to reclaim me.
Well, you're here, and you've been properly introduced, yes? Or introduced yourself, anyway. Did you tell our Alpha that you wish to remain?
You know, I didn't say that. Um, I probably should have.
Well, if you wish to remain, I suggest. Well, actually, I'll tell you what. If you wish to remain, tell me now, and I'll pass the message on. I don't have any issues with you being here. As Sep's Truthcatcher, I'm a trusted advisor.
She nods. I do wish to remain here. I want to do my duty to Gaia and Diego, so
He'll
I'd
nod.
rather not go anywhere else.
Good. Do you need housing, or do you have that?
I have an apartment.
All right. Well, anytime you wish to stay on Sept, there are houses, and he'll like gesture off to one side that is for anybody's use. Those of us that live full time on Sept have our own lodging, permanent houses. The rest are kind of like dorm rooms, if you will. There's a couple beds in each room. You know, kind of a revolving door of people that only sleep here a couple days out of the week and then go to their own house. The houses that you saw on your way in, if you drove here, all of those houses are kinfolk houses.
Oh.
We are surrounded by kinfolk and Garu.
Is the entirety of the lake our territory?
There is a veiled portion that is ours. The rest of it, this is a public park, so it's not too busy right now, but during the summer months, there will be more people out walking the trails and fishing. There's no swimming allowed in the lake, so if you swim in the lake, make sure you stay in the veiled portion. But
Hmm.
legally, there's no swimming allowed in the lake.
I was mostly concerned about making howls.
Oh, you're fine. As long as
Okay.
you howl. We tend to keep our howls to the Umbra for the most part, but as long as you're in the veiled portion, which is most of the land around the lake, and part of the lake itself is veiled, but not all of it.
Okay. I'll have to get somebody to give me a more thorough tour at some point here.
Yes.
But that sounds pretty good. I'm glad that I announced myself in the Umbra the other day then.
Well, at night, over here, there's no people. This part of the park closes early. On the way other side, and he'll like gesture his arm over his head. There are campgrounds, but I believe it's only open during certain months of the year. So at night you're fine.
Okay.
But when we discovered this cairn, we figured it was probably the best we were going to get in such a large city. Guess we're kind of lucky that we're not in the middle of the city.
Are there many cairns in the middle of cities?
Well, yeah, if you heard Sept of the Green in New York City, Central Park,
Oh, wow.
cairn right in the middle of the city, a big city.
Yeah.
I will
So,
tell you this when you venture into the city, there's a big park next to the San Diego Zoo called Balboa Park. That is known vampire territory. We
oh,
don't engage we don't engage with them unless they engage with us. So,
yeah.
it's a very public park and of course you can go there during the day, but be careful at night.
I will definitely avoid that. I usually work nights anyway.
What do you do?
I'm a DJ. The club kind, not the radio kind.
What kind of music?
A variety of electronic music. Usually at work, stuff that people can dance to.
Of course. Of course, DJing in a club, you would want stuff that people can dance to. He
Yeah,
you can
unless
see
it's a
a
goth club.
little bit of a when you were saying that you were a DJ and stuff, he was giving you a little bit of approving look. Like he can get behind that as a glasswalker. A goth club, you say?
Hmm. Not where I work. I was just saying they might be less inclined towards dancing sometimes. I mean, they probably dance too. I haven't really played at one, but it seems
Unfortunately,
like a more laid back
yeah.
atmosphere.
Uh, this city, from what I have seen of it, doesn't have a lot of goth presence. There's not a dedicated goth club. Um, I know there's a couple of leather bars. That's about as close as it gets. There's mostly hipster bars
Yeah,
and gay bars.
her. She looks kind of interested when he says gay bars. Really?
Yes, there's actually a neighborhood near downtown called Hillcrest that is and he makes air quotes the gay area of the city.
She laughs. Uh, well, that's good to hear. My old den father probably would have had a stroke if he heard that.
Well, that wouldn't be a bad thing, would it? He winks.
She just snorts at that. Um, I will have to. How is it you say in America? Plead the fifth.
he chuckles out loud at that. I like you. I like that you're not intimidated. I like that you can carry on a conversation with me and laugh and joke. It's refreshing. So many young ones are almost too afraid to speak in my presence, which makes me sad.
frowns and shakes her head. Everyone I've met from this sept is much more welcoming and less intimidating than those of my previous sept. So I feel a lot more comfortable speaking
Good.
and
I'm
interacting.
glad. Yes, the young ones that we have had here have been a lot like you in being open and not quite as afraid to speak to their, I hate using the term betters, but those of higher rank, much higher rank. At my old sept, there was a lot of, I guess they were intimidated. He just kind of shakes his head. I mean, us older ones, we've been around longer, but we're still fighting the same fight.
We do all need each other.
We do. That you are correct on.
One thing I believe strongly is that there's strength in unity, and even though my tribe commonly relies on dominance, I don't believe that dominance is always the best way to achieve that goal.
I'll nod. Well, there's a difference between dominance and being an asshole.
She considers this. Yeah, you've got a point there. I difference from where I came from. She sighs. But there's another matter of
He raises an eyebrow.
I know that those of your auspice are considering the fate of a kinfolk.
Yes, Black Spiral Kin. She came to us. She escaped where they were holed up, the place you destroyed, to tell us something very important. And I took every measure to make sure she was telling the truth. And she risked a lot to bring us the message. So I decided that she deserved a chance, but the Cleoth seemed a bit divided on what should be done. Some felt strongly that she should be killed. Some felt strongly that she should be given a chance, and there were a couple others that were kind of neutral. But so I decided to give the Cleoths a chance to decide her fate. There are 2 Cleoth Philodoxes. However, if they don't do it in a timely manner, then her fate will be decided by me.
She nods. Well, I not a half moon, but I do have an opinion on the matter.
He hand motions you to go ahead.
she should be given a chance and she should be allowed to live, because I don't think we would have succeeded in the other day's endeavors against the Black Spirals without her aid.
He raises his eyebrows as if a bit surprised.
She gave us very useful, what's the word, intelligence in regards to the layout of the hive and the surrounding buildings. She told us about the dangers in the hive. She basically gave us all the information that we could get on it, other than what Binary found through the what do you call it, the Google.
He nods.
And she considers for a second. Not only her help, but I think that her mother helped as well, even though she was dead. There was a map of the central building of the hive where the crawler was based, and all the Tellurian side spirals were based, where they were sleeping, where we found them. Well, not all of them. There were some in the trailers too, and they came and found us after that. But point is, most of them were there. But that gave us the element of surprise, that map that her mother had made. And from her telling, they were the only two who wanted to escape that life. I think that the Cubs might have gathered some evidence to support this. So if you would be willing to accept their evidence into your judgment, maybe even, because I was busy while they were investigating the trailer that Desiree and her mother used to inhabit. I think that might lend further light to this situation.
He'll nod. Go to Dazzles the Young, the den mother, and have her collect this evidence for me. Ask her that, or tell her that I asked you to get this, or that tell her that I asked you to ask her to get the evidence from the Cubs, and she'll pass it on to me.
Okay, I think I've got that.
Sorry. That is, he doesn't even finish that statement. He just nods. There is a moot coming up soon. I would ask that you would tell the story of not only the bravery of you, Garu, that fought the Black Spirals, but also tell how this brave kinfolk aided you in taking down her former tribe. And I say former because she has renounced her tribe. Her pure breed's no longer active.
Interesting. And one last thing about her that I remembered. She was brave in telling us this because when we first met her, she was extremely afraid, but she still gave us this information despite her fear.
Well, she knows binary and lefty. So if they were there with you, then that could have made her more comfortable.
I think it did. I can see why. They're good kids.
They are. We got some good cubs. Even though, well, even for Metis, binary is starting to prove herself. He kind of chews
She
on his
looks
bottom lip.
she looks a little irked when he says even for a Metis.
If you want a P and EM, there's a little bit more to that.
What's that?
If you want to roll your perception empathy,
Oh, okay.
there's a there's something behind that statement.
I think I have some empathy. I do.
See what you get.
Ah, nada.
Nothing. Okay. Then you don't get it.
Sorry.
It's all right. So go ahead and go talk to the den mother. It was very nice to meet you, Sings in Shadow. Don't be a stranger.
Likewise, writes the rules, Raya. I will certainly make myself known again. And you will hear from me at the moot, though I will probably be singing and not speaking.
He'll nod, which is completely acceptable.
Good.
I look forward to
And
hearing your song.
good. I may enlist the aid of one of the cubs in composing it because he deserves a chance to contribute that way. And I'm not the best with lyrics, personally.
He'll nod. Get Dazzles the Young's permission on that.
Uh, is there anything else you would ask of me?
Not at this time. Thank you for being honest.
I make a habit of it.
Good.
I will see you at the moot if I don't see you sooner.
You indeed. And he will stand up to open the door to let you out.
Thank you. And she will exit and head towards the Den Mother's area.
So, it's probably about a half an hour walk across the sept, from his house to the den mother's house. But it's It's a nice night out. It's not windy, it's not really cold. It's kind of cool. Um it's clear outside so you can see the stars. So it's a nice walk over there.
Okay.
And when you get to the Den Mother's house, you'll walk past teepees, which is what the cubs sleep in. Um, so the cub quote cabins are teepees, and then the Den Mother's house is not a cabin; it's an actual house that's about I don't know a, f- a few yards away from the teepees. It's really not that far. There's porch light on, and you can see an ambient light through the window, but it doesn't look like there's an actual light on.
Um, on her way and on her half-hour walk, she sings several songs, um, just to keep herself amused and in practice. She recognizes the teepees actually because she was here once before. This is where she stayed the other night. Um,
Oh, cool.
the,
Awesome.
the Cubs, the Cubs gave her some space to stay um, with them. That's after she went hunting with Lefty and Sierra and, and ate quite a bit of deer meat. Um, and Lefty hung out for a while and jammed. So
Very cool. Awesome.
she approaches the house and makes the um, what is that? Um, the shave and a haircut knock. I don't know if you
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You wait just a few seconds before the door opens uh and you see this face staring at you. Very soft. Um and she doesn't look annoyed or put out or anything like that.
A
Sings in
shadow.
shadow, right?
She grins. Oh, you know me.
I spied you here the other night.
I hope you don't mind that I stayed here for a little bit.
Oh, no, not at all. Anyone is welcome to stay over here. It's just mandatory that the Cubs do. She motions for you to come in.
Thank you. And she'll enter.
Um, and as you walk in, um, it's a fairly standard house, uh, except there's no furniture in the living room. What? So as you come in, off to the left is kind of a dining room area where there's table and chairs. Off to the right is a kitchen, and it's fairly standard modern kitchen. Um, and then it's sort of an open concept into the living room where there's no furniture, there is a fireplace, and there are bookshelves with books lined across the walls. And there's like little pillows, well, not little, big pillows on the floor for people to sit on. But and there's no TV in this room, but there is a TV and like the room that is the meditation room. If she gives you the tour, you'll see it. Um,
Okay.
but she'll just invite you to take a seat on any of the pillows or on the floor if you want. Um, Beside
Okay.
one of the bookshelves, you'll notice that there's a bulletin board with a clipboard kind of stuck up there um, with paper on it. So if you
Can
want
she
to
take a
ask,
glance at that?
uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see on the paper that there are names of books with people's names written beside them and a date, as if they had checked out a book.
Uh, so she asks, "You run a library here?"
Of sorts. I've collected a lot of books over the years, so I kind of have a sept library. Anyone can borrow any book. They can keep it for any length of time they like, but they have to bring their books back before they can get new ones.
That's fair. Um, hmm. Well, I do have some business with you, but I would really like to browse the books that you have. Maybe borrow.
Well, let's discuss business first, and then you can browse the library.
Okay. So she thinks for a moment. Okay. So I oh my gosh. I was supposed to ask her permission for something, right?
Yeah, so you were supposed to ask if you could grab, I think it's Lefty to help you with the song for the moot.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
And then you're supposed to tell her that
about the evidence.
Writes the Rules asked you to ask her to collect that for him.
Okay. So two things. First, Writes the Rules asked me to ask you evidence on Desiree from the Cubs, um, and give it to him.
What sort of evidence?
Um, Evidence showing her, I guess, um, I don't know
Sorry, you
how to
kind of.
put it.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of, I drifted off. Actually, didn't say anything. Uh, I guess evidence of what kind of a person she is.
All right. So, like, character stuff.
Yeah, yeah. They were doing
Did you
some investigating.
did you find this in her trailer?
Yeah.
Okay. I will ask them for it, and I'll pass it on over to Writes the Rules. What else was there?
Actually, two more things. I almost forgot this second one. But uh, I was wondering if I could borrow Lefty for a little bit to help me write a song.
Of
Two
course.
songs. Okay,
Sure, of course you can.
great. I want him to get a chunk of the renown that I might receive for performing in the moot, and I want his help because he told me he's a songwriter, and I'm more of a performer than a songwriter.
She'll nod.
Lastly, I was wondering if you would let me do a kindness for the cubs and maybe help you cook for them.
She gets a wide smile on her face. Is this just a one-time thing, or would you like to ongoingly volunteer?
You would let me do it more than one time?
Of course.
Then yes, I would like to help you more than just this once.
She smiles. Then we will work out a schedule.
Good.
Yes, the cubs are my responsibility, but I won't be able to do this job forever. It will be nice to have somebody I can possibly pass it on to at some point.
She looks really surprised and not in a bad way. Like, potentially her day was just made hearing that.
And it's nice that someone's thinking about that and asking to help. It's not often that I get approached. So, thank you.
Wow. I had a difficult den father and would like to make up for that by contributing to Cubs' upbringing in a positive manner, if that makes any sense. That, but and she tears up a little bit thinking about this, and they're definitely not fake tears; they're real tears. I
Dazzles
kind
will
of miss
reach
my family.
Dazzles will reach out and grab your hand if you'll let her.
Oh yeah,
Well, we're your family now, and I'm more than happy to allow positive influences hang out with the Cubs. They need as many as they can get. And it's refreshing to see a Shadow Lord with the outlook that you have, despite your upbringing, which I don't know the details of, but I heard it wasn't pleasant.
she laughs a little bit bitterly. Yeah, and really, I've only skimmed the surface telling people about that. Maybe
Well, you
maybe I'll
don't
tell more about it someday.
when you're comfortable. There's no need to divulge details if you're not ready.
I appreciate that.
So, if you decide to stay on sept at any time, you're more than welcome to sleep in one of the teepees, either in your own or with the cubs. Um, and or you can sleep outside. I sleep outside a lot during the warmer months. Not that it ever gets too cold here, but I often sleep outside in Lupus.
She looks fascinated. She's like, I've never done that before, actually. I'm
Maybe you
used
should.
to
It's a
go on.
really good way to get in touch with the wolf. Spend some time outside under the stars as a wolf, sleeping as a wolf would. It's
I mean,
almost become ritual for me.
It's not exactly my strong point. It's something I could stand to improve, is my connection to my wolf side.
Yes, we should all get in touch with our wolf if we weren't born that way, which I know you weren't. Neither was I. I find that spending time not just in the Embra, but also here in the Tellurian, as a wolf, out in nature as much as you can, helps to get in tune with that. So that's why I sleep outside under the stars as a wolf as often as I can.
She gets a big grin, remembering something. She says, "Hey, Sierra and Lefty took me on my first hunt.
She raises an eyebrow. Oh?
Ah, that's not something they really taught me about in my old sept. They left me in the care, or really to care for, the den father much of the time."
That's really unfortunate.
Not to be rude, but you don't know the half of it.
I'm sure I don't. And I don't take offense to that. A lot of people have had trying upbringings. Fortunately, I did not. My my upbringing was fairly reasonable, I suppose you could say. Sure, there were hardships, but I was didn't know that Garu existed until I changed and was brought to my home sept, which was mostly Child of Gaia.
Interesting. And she does seem interested. It's not like a interested or
Hmm.
disingenuous interested. She hasn't heard much about that particular tribe, so she's fascinated.
My den mother was harsh but fair. There were times she could be a little heavy-handed.
Hmm.
So I learned very quickly to not get on her bad side. I learned a lot from her on how to be and how not to be. Sometimes the negative experiences we go through make us stronger because they teach us how we don't want to be and how we don't want to treat others. Even if our experiences are negative, there are still valuable lessons in them.
She's nodding vigorously. She says, "Yes." Even though my upbringing wasn't exactly, I don't know, ideal, maybe, um, it taught me a lot about myself and what I want to see in the world.
She'll nod. Good. Glad to hear it. Now, since you're volunteering to hang out with me and the cubs, we'll get a lot of time to speak and we can share stories.
I look forward to it, and in time I'll try to open up a little bit more. about what my experience was like. Just
Well,
good memories too.
well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that it wasn't all horrible. She chuckles just a little bit. But as I said,
Oh,
there's no rush to when you're ready.
of course. Is there a clock in here?
Um, let me see. No, no clock
Okay,
at all.
not totally surprising. Uh,
Yeah, she lives very minimally.
have have the cubs eaten already?
Um, well, we'll say it's probably 9 o'clock at night, so yeah, just a couple of hours ago.
Oh, okay. Well, then I suppose um, I'll help you cook another day, maybe in the morning.
Sure, you can come help make breakfast.
Okay. I have to get up to greet
And
the moon anyway.
she smiles. And maybe by the time you come back, I'll have a schedule set up so you know what days to come and help.
Okay. Would you like my work schedule?
Sure, that would be very helpful.
She'll write that down. It's mostly on the weekends.
She'll nod. Okay. And if there's nothing else, we can end the scene with Shadow and Dazzles the Young talking some more, just casual conversation till Shadow decides to go home.
Okay. And she'll probably look over the books and see if there's any
Okay. So the
language
books,
books.
yes, you'll find language books. You'll find pretty much any academic book you want. She has quite a library of all kinds of that stuff. College textbooks, uh, yeah, pretty much anything you want academically, it's in the library.
Okay.
You'll find some
Yeah.
occult books there too, but you're not gonna find anything on like Garu and stuff like that beyond just the normal myths and legend books.
Okay.
So, um, so yeah, we can work out after the scene what you take. It's fine.
Okay. That sounds good.
All right. So with that, we will end our scene. Thank you for playing and thank you for watching.